I know I wanted to change it, but the little thing gets me. But plus, I like the comments and stuff that are in that. But oh my goodness,
Oh
yikes!
no. This episode, I was like, damn. Like at the end
But
of
in the
the
beginning, I was like, halfway through, I was just like, it's okay.
video.
I felt like they were getting to know each other and everything. But by the end, I was like, what?
I was too. People came all the way out of their perceived character. So anyway, all
Hey,
right.
Blondie. Hey, Mocha.
Hey
Mima.
Blondie. Hey Blondie. Hey Mocha. Yo, this epic show. That's what I said to myself. There were certain things. Why am I yelling? Sorry, guys. It's like, what's this? But there were certain things that I was like, okay, so first of all, let me just say this. We noticed right in the beginning that this is different than some of the other seasons we've seen because there weren't any couples traveling to the house together. So this is like the retreat house. James calls it the hurt feelings trip. And it was like, oh, nobody's really gelled together yet like that.
Hey, Miss Genji. I mean, yeah, that's probably why they didn't ride together like that because we kind of knew in other episodes before, like, oh, this couple, like we usually together. Having couples by this time or whatever. So, I mean, but I think we got some couples.
But you know what? Okay, so not to put everybody on the same sort of like RTL timeline, but yeah, by now we normally have couples, so it's a little bit different and off than other seasons. But then when we get into the house, we see, okay, so Quentin has made himself very clear that he's interested in Janelle. It was even funny the way when the guys got there first and they were like, oh, I think so-and-so's going to want this room. I think so-and-so's going to want this room. Like Quentin was like, I know this is the room Janelle's gonna pick for sure. Like, listen, everybody, like, and then I didn't realize at the time that he was gonna drop his stuff off there, so he was picking his room as well. I think is what was happening.
I think he, in this episode at least, I think he's being very intentional. I mean, I was shocked at how he handled the situation when him and Kat were already talking at the grill and Janelle came out. I was just like,
what? Oh, let's get into it.
Yeah, so give us a recap.
Okay, so
I just jumped right into
it. So I might say this out of order because, well, maybe I won't. Okay, so here's what happened. They get to the house. He comes up there. Listen, here's what Quentin's on. He picked out the room. He left his bag in said room. He paraded around in his basketball shorts or whatever they were, right? With his thighs out. He was like
extra hoochie daddy shorts.
Hello, he was hoochie daddy 1900. Okay, you know what I'm saying? And then he said, "I don't like being single." I heard that. I heard him say, yeah. Like I was like, "Oh, that is a very intentional statement. That is something that." When someone says it, you better believe I don't like being single. So he's very like, I'm ready to end this, I'm saying, singleness. So then when Janelle comes out, so then Kat comes up. I'm so shocked. We're gonna get to this, but I was like, Kat's gonna be in the bottom, but she's doing a good job at like hanging on. Now I understand why she's not in the bottom.
I thought that too, but then I was shocked. This episode.
You know what?
Sorry.
No. Go ahead. Go ahead. Hey, Ellen. I'm sorry. We're gonna look at the comments in a second, but you're right. I was
if you're out there.
Okay, wait, let me say this real quick. So he paraded around with his quadriceps out, and then he said, I don't like being single. Look, you know how they say about women. They just objectify us as like her breasts were hanging out for sure.
That's true. That comment would have been backwards. It would have been different. Yeah.
That's how I would objectify him. His quadriceps were hanging out of his apron. He came around here all oiled up. What was he thinking about?
He did look naked in that apron. I was like, Quentin.
It's indecent, sir. Of course. It's like,
Oh my God.
Okay, so he said, so when Janelle comes out, Kat's out there giving him some go, whatever. And then when Janelle came out, you know what he said? Pull up a chair. Then he proceeded to pull her up a chair. At this point, Kat is like, oh, I didn't know he was spoken for out here. She's basically like, you don't have to know. No one has to know. Right? Does everybody know that? Okay, Janelle's like, they don't need to know. Yeah, he's spoken for. And he said out of his own situation, yes, Yes, I am.
Absolutely.
He was so happy to do that.
I said, wait, what? He's like, absolutely.
Absolutely, I am. He was claiming. I was like, okay. And he had already.
I'm sorry. I'm just going to read her comment real quick. She said, Janelle did say that she wants to be in a relationship by the end of the year. And I think Quentin likes that. I think so, too. Hey, listen, in this episode, he was intentional. Anyway, back to your face.
So then Kat says that he's in the sunken place. And,
I mean, because she pretty much ran Kat off. And he did not. He was just looking like, I'm out of this. I made my decision kind of thing. So it was just like awkward.
Yeah, he didn't sign off on it necessarily, but yeah, he's claimed that he's already professed that to Janelle as well over by the pool, and they talked about how he says, they talked about some of his swimming issues, whatever, and then he says to her like, "Yeah, I see us with a future after this process is over," and he declared it. You know what I'm saying? I really can appreciate Janelle's point of view. Sometimes I think she probably doesn't understand how she comes off to other people, but I don't know. I just appreciate her giving clear, concise statements about where she stands. But all that.
I knew there was a but.
Okay. All that stuff's not necessary. Okay, what are you gonna say about that? Go ahead.
No, I thought you were saying but. I was like, I knew there was a but. I don't have anything to say about that.
Well, yeah.
I think that Quentin is being grown on his grown man. I was just like, okay, he's clear about what he wants, but then I was shocked about how he was looking at Lee too, but you'll get to that.
Okay. Yes, we are going to get to that. Well, he told Janelle that he was there to solidify some things, and he saw a future with them. So that's like probably one of the first professings that I'm seeing. Now, Chris and Lee are together and they're on some joke time, and that's real cool or whatever. He likes that she's a go-getter, and he likes where she is like mentally or whatever. But one thing that I thought was interesting, and this is kind of just speaks to who they are, but also it's like their sense of humor, but that does tell a lot about who you are. There's a comment made where she's like, oh, okay, well, if you keep acting right, then da-da-da-da. And he was like, yeah, well, if you keep acting right, then da-da-da-da, right? Like fair, right? Even. She was like, what? She was like, all I can do is act right. Everything I do is right. And I was like, ooh, that's a little weird.
I think her personality came out in that date, though. I
think
that showed a lot more of herself. He had her blushing. So I was like, oh, okay. So.
And he said that he felt like, we're going to get into this later, but in the men's lounge, but he was really feeling her. And I'll say it a little bit later, but I'll paraphrase now. He actually said that he could see Aries with other people, but he couldn't see Lee with anybody else but him. And I was like, wow, that's a claim. That is a claim. Yeah. That's a claiming of someone. But I just don't know like whether it was reciprocated yet, because I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that, the evidence of that.
Blondie Monique says she still thinks that Lee might have a chance with Quentin. I do too, but that's just me. Go ahead.
Yeah. Baby. I do too, but can I just say, okay, I'll wait. I'll say that later. Something about Quentin. Well, no, I'll say it now. We're here, everyone. Something about Quentin makes me think that he probably, listen, let me get into my tarot card reading. Even though I don't do that, I feel like he probably grew up around some strong women, and he likes to be sort of, I don't know. I feel like he finds comfort in strength of women. Like, I feel like he probably he likes the way that Janelle is like claiming him and kind of warding other energies off of him. Like, I think he likes that.
I absolutely know he likes that.
Sorry, yeah, he likes that. And it's like, Chris don't like that. It's like two opposite ends of the spectrum. It's like Chris is like, but he doesn't like that type of thing. It's just like he wants the control and the sort of dominance over like environments, where it's so funny because I think Quentin is really engaged by that sort of like, yeah, like she's gonna tell you, you know what I'm saying? It's almost like she could order dinner for him or something. Like, listen, everyone, he's gonna have the salmon. No, don't look at him. Don't look at him. Look at me. He's gonna have the salmon and the Chardonnay. That's kind of how and it seems like he likes that, which is I'm here for. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So okay, we'll get into more of that later. But like, what do you think about Sierra?
I think that Sierra had a real ass conversation with Marie. I felt like, you know, he had a real conversation with her too. I felt like that was a genuine. Well, it was more than one moment, but I feel like the moments that they were having were genuine. Like she was just like, look, let me just put this all out here. This is how I'm feeling or whatever. And he was real about where he was coming from. And then she was real about how she perceived it, explained to him what she was picking up. I feel like that was good. If we could just see more of that more of that. We need more of that. Okay.
I know. You know, it's funny because it's reminding me of some of the behind the scenes footage or the behind the scenes interviews that I've seen, because the men are really speaking up this season. And maybe that's happened in last season and I didn't notice it, but like the men in this season are really speaking up and talking about how they have needs as well when it comes to pursuit. Right? It's just like, oh, I need you to meet me somewhere in the middle so that I can know that you are, you know, looking for me too. And so I felt like, you know, I felt like Marie put those vibes out in this sort of episode. Now, look, here's the thing. Everybody, all the cast members, all the interviews we're watching, it's like they keep saying the same thing, like, oh, the editing. Even though they are in love with the producers, they're all saying the editing is making things different than what was intended. And I'm having a hard time understanding how, if you're giving a clear vibe, how it could be misconstrued, but I do understand like the power of editing, right? But Morier, you know, I still feel like he's acting a little bit because yeah, a little bit. I feel like he's trying to
say, like what made you think that?
Okay, maybe acting is too strong of a word, but I feel like he's like, I don't understand like why he's there. I don't feel like he has any real connections. He's just making connections with people, and he's just okay. So here's what really did it for me. So when he just admitted to everybody that he doesn't think he's ever been in love before, I'm shocked as to how that hasn't come out in conversation. Right? I'm shocked about that. I'm like, what? Like, we all kind of got the 1-2 when he talked about the tarot reading or whatever, right? And then you know, he went into detail about that, or not detail, but like he explained a little bit about that. But now we find that he's never been in love before. I feel like that's something that we would have known about him.
Like somebody should have asked or whatever before that.
You know what I'm saying? It feels like it would have come out before the retreat. You know what I mean? Or the
I mean, but it all okay. So you talked about the men professing, you know, their intention and how they want to be pursued or met in the middle or whatever. I think that it is a couple that's doing that, but like I think that all of their definitions of that fluctuate. You know what I mean? And Morier, I feel like he just might be a little bit not socially awkward, but when it comes to the dating scene like this, like. I feel like with this and the cameras there, they would have had to be, it has to feel so much different than a regular date where you can, you know, nobody's recording what you're saying. You know, all these things have to be going through their head, right? So I feel like that part is affecting what's happening, and it's making him look kind of disingenuous. Not like he's lying, but it's just like he doesn't always all the way believe what he's saying. You know what I mean? But I feel like in the process, he is like working it out because he was honest with Sierra. So I feel like he's like, okay, this is different. And, you know, I feel like that's what's happening or whatever. But I don't know what's going to happen now because I can't tell if he's feeling Sierra or if he's not feeling Sierra.
So that's what I was thinking to myself because, you know, at this point, you know, Chris is, it seems against Jessica. And I don't really feel like Jessica has made such a, you know, I don't know, because we haven't seen a lot of dates, but well, there's a lot of dates that we haven't seen, is what I'm trying to say. We haven't seen a lot of dates. But, you know, she made special effort to like make his plate, to make Marie's plate. And Sierra kind of counted herself out in the beginning because she said more than once. I wanted to say more than twice there, but she said more than once, at least. She said at least twice that she hadn't unpacked. And then she had said something at one point where it's like, I'll just go home. And it's like, okay, well, how invested are you? If you had a match already, you would never say something like that.
She said she was mentally checked out, but I do think stuff like that, like I'm gonna leave or I haven't unpacked yet, it does send the wrong message because like you don't even believe that you are gonna stay.
Like, are you staying or not?
I'm just waiting to see what happens. But it's like, I guess that does say a little bit about where her mindset was. But she did say she checked out, you know what I mean? But she was real with Marie about the whole situation. So I can respect that. I just feel like they had a real ass conversation.
They did. And so this was before they actually had that conversation where she sort of met him and said, oh, now I get it. You've never even experienced this level of connection. So maybe I need to do a little bit more for you to kind of like come and connect. Right?
That I appreciate. She said, okay. I was like, that was good how she came to that conclusion because a lot of people wouldn't do that. A lot of people would be like, you know what? It ain't working. I'm out. But they wouldn't let her self-eliminate either. So
so she didn't do that. But the conversation,
anyway.
Go.
No, I was just like, so then that it makes me feel like if they didn't let her self-eliminate, like why would they not let her self-eliminate just to eliminate her? So I don't know what's gonna happen next episode is what I'm saying. But Miss Gingy says Marie appears to be so serious that there was no way for him to speak out about not being in love before now. Yeah, I feel like, look,
he does seem a little serious.
I mean, I feel like also to add to what I said about him earlier, he lost his father within the last year and he's probably, working through that or whatever. Like, it's probably a lot going on. You know what I mean? I'm not giving him no excuse, but I'm understanding how he can't really connect like a person who doesn't have like that weight on them. Not weight, like fat or whatever. I'm not saying that. I'm saying like weight on their mental shoulders, right? And I didn't even mean it like that. That's gonna come out so bad. But no, like I think that when you're going through a lot mentally, and then you do something like this, that's got to be like hard, especially if you aren't used to navigating that kind of world. You know what I mean? Because we've seen guys come on here and just navigate it like nice and easy. Like, all right, bet this date, right?
Yeah.
But, he's not one of those, but I think that it probably has something to do with what he has gone through in the last couple of years too. So I don't know.
Yeah, when you say Marie, I don't know because we hear from other people like Chris and Herbert that, oh, this is so challenging. I'm not used to dating multiple women. Or Christopher and Herbert. And then I didn't hear Marie say that. Maybe he did though. But I didn't hear Marie say that. But there's a point at which I felt like he was just trying to hang on to not be eliminated and not looking for love. I'm going to tell you when that was. It was when he had that date with his ex and Janelle and Jessica, and he was basically like, oh, I think I lost them. My only hope is Sierra. That's what he said.
Now, I thought that too. Listen, the way that the show played, that's what I thought too. I was like, oh, this is not, it looks like they both counted each other out. They both counted them out. Like they were both like,
Yeah.
So but I think it's the way that the show is going. I think everybody's been going like that. It's like, we don't know who's together at all. And so it's like weird. You know what I mean? So now I feel like, I don't know. I just think he's a little like one of those uncomfortable people when it comes to public dating, like people looking at what he's doing. But I think he did a good job being like real with her, and I think she did a good job picking up the fact that she's not been there yet. Let me see if this is something I can do differently. Not like he's not doing it. So I like that.
I like that too, because before she was saying that she didn't feel like she had been pursued, but once she realized that he didn't understand that, right? Like about like he was basically saying you've never been in love. So it's like, oh, of course. So then I understand why you are not there yet. Okay,
but so just he ain't never been in love before and you're stopping to do it. Don't think that that's automatically gonna make him love you though. So but anyway, Miss Gingy says Jessica was only trying to find a way to stay by making that plate for Marie.
Right.
What y'all feel about making plates? How y'all feel about making plates? That's what I want to know. That's a lot of people have. Like some people will be like, girl, I ain't making no plates. And some people will be like, I make plates. Now, I personally make plates. You know what I'm saying? But
I personally make plates too. You got to be able to make a plate just like you got to be able to do a couple of things.
You married, I'm not. We're gonna take your advice on that one.
you gotta be able to do a thing. You know what I'm saying?
Now, June Murray, shout out to you, June Murray. June Murray said, I agree with Miss Gingy. Plus, he's a very serious man, and what being in love to him is probably very serious. Yeah, especially since he's saying he never had it. He doesn't know how to. If he had it, he didn't identify it. While many claim to have love, when it was lust they were experiencing. I like that, and that's absolutely facts to that. You know what I'm saying? Hey Jerry, what's going on, Crown Prince?
I need to play.
I bet.
Oh my God.
I ain't even gonna say nothing else. I'm gonna leave that right there. Okay. Mocha Mima said, I make plates and
That's
cook.
right, Mocha.
Okay, let me add that to the thing. I make plates and cook, okay? And yeah, I can cook.
I got the keys.
Blondie said she make plates too.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So yeah, we
yeah, I believe those two women make a good plate. I feel like they go around, they get you all the good stuff, and it's like, I don't know if you really want to try that. So I left that off, but you can get some if you want. But here's what you got. Everything that I would have gotten on my plate. You know what I'm saying? And a roll, and a couple of napkins, and a water or a soda or whatever, right? Like I've cooked.
You coming over there with two?
Look, but just over there with that. Look, hold up. I only got a couple things over here. I got some hair grease because I be twisting my hair over here sometimes. I got some mascara. I got a couple pens. Jessica came over there like a busser or a servant. She was like, all right, you ready? Okay, here's your drink. Here's just some napkins, some salt and pepper.
Facts though, but shout out to her for that because they've been asking for Jessica's softer romantic side, and I feel like that was one of her gestures.
Yo, that was like her love language.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like she should get a few points for that because that wasn't a masculine thing to do, right?
For sure.
So, but no, hold up though. Mocha Mima said, I will run your shower or bath and dry you off.
Okay. Yo,
I don't know about drying it off, but
body roll to that.
Here's a towel.
Let me take a note. Okay, because that's real right there. But here's the thing, and I feel like this is interesting because where we are with women and men dating these days, it seems so hard for people to connect, and I feel like one of the real moments is like between Chris saying that he doesn't believe, I'm paraphrasing here, but it's parts of the women's equality that he just doesn't believe in. And he's like, he felt like women are too emotional to make decisions. He said the words, women are too emotional. But then he also backed it up by saying like, I don't believe women should pay bills. And Kat was over there clapping amen like the church. The church said amen.
But this is the thing though, right? I felt her, but the thing is, it's just like everything in the world. If you want to accept this good part, you got to understand that there's bad parts too. Not bad parts, but there's parts that you might not like. You know what I mean? And while you might like people paying your bills, there's a whole bunch of other stuff that comes along with that sometimes. So I was laughing at that because I felt her, but then I was just like, but he was very strong about how he felt about the roles, you know what I mean? But I don't know, Chris just doesn't present himself like I guess we're not seeing it because it just, he doesn't present himself like that kind of like alpha personality, but the things that he's saying sound like they're an alpha personality. So I just wonder what we're missing because I think we got good, genuine footage of Sierra and Morier, but we may not be getting everybody else's side like that. But to go to Mocha's comment, Jessica has a soft side. I feel like yes, and they need to recognize that when she fixed that plate, that was her being like, let me go ahead and try to show you my softer side. Work with me, like just work. It's not gonna happen overnight, but I feel like that's what she was doing.
For sure.
V Jones, hey V Jones, welcome. Jessica does not want Morier. She has no connection. Why fight the in hand? Oh, that's a little emoji I can't see.
Okay.
She said, "Why fight to the end?" Okay. I agree that even though I give her props for fixing the plate, and I feel like she was trying to make a kind gesture, I did think in the moment, like, is she just doing it so that she can not go home? So I really feel
yes, teacher. Teacher pick me. Yes, that's exactly why she did it.
Mocha says Chris needs to go. The preview shows why. Well, I need to gather some more information before, because I want to see who he was talking to. But then at the end of the day, I don't know, because in my mind, I feel like, all right, they didn't show Jessica or Sierra, obviously, because they don't want us to know who they sent home. But I feel like Jessica might be the one to go home, just because, I feel like she's trying to hang on to Marie, like V. Jones said, like, I think, but I think Sierra could go home too, because I'm not sure if Marie is not feeling her, but I'm not sure if he's like, okay, feeling like she's feeling, right? She's willing to like give him a chance, and she's like, but it's like, what is he feeling? So I couldn't read that through Marie. So I don't know, but I want to know who Chris was talking to, and what got him to that point, because all up to this point, he seems so much more mild-mannered, and like I said, not like I don't know, like he just seems so much more mild-mannered. I'm like, saying he went all the way to the F-bomb like that. I was already alarmed about when he was talking with Forrest, and then when he said the F-bomb, I was like, whoa.
Was he even believable when he said it? Was he even believable? I didn't even really feel like he was serious. Listen, I felt like he was like repeating someone else's words. Like, I don't know.
All I could say was, oh my God. Okay.
Now we have to address the elephant in the room. Okay, so then I'll talk about who I think is definitely going to get sent home.
Okay. But, okay. 1 second. I'm sorry. Hey, Caramel Beauty 65. Good evening, everyone. It was Jessica that Chris was talking about at the end of episode 1. See, I think talking to at the end of episode 1. I think it could be, but then I'm like, dang. Did they really send Sierra home? But we said she should have went home a couple of episodes. But yeah, I don't know. I can't believe he would get like that though. Like,
I can, because everybody has two sides. Like, we've only seen one side of him, and it's the side that he wanted us to see. And I just don't think that anybody is, especially because the other lady was talking about how subservient she was and whatever. And I felt like she, had to earn some of her ducats to, to feel worthy. So I felt like, well, he must have another side that we don't see, for her to be like, considering that, that her days were only worth that. But okay, so that was a little too far. But anyway, my thought is that, he obviously has another side, right? But then in the same token, I know Jessica hasn't even shown this, but I know she's not willing to back down to nobody. I feel like she will point out every single point and let the record show type thing, like exhibit A, B, C, 3, 1, 2.5, and then let's go back to A, right? I feel like she's that type of person.
If everyone to look at your binders, pull out your binders.
Yes, everyone, please join me on page 1495.
And the fact that they use the word combative, I was just like, I cringed, because I was like, okay, one season it was aggressive, right? That was the word everybody was like, no, don't use that. And when as soon as I heard him say combative, I was like, oh my goodness. So if they are just like, if that is the word that they're using, I feel like, might not even been Marie's word. It just probably was something that was thrown around the men's lounge, and then he just repeated it, and it might have probably come from Chris. You know what I'm saying? But I think that word, they feel pushback. So who knows, like, what their main reason is for? But did they have to use that word though? Like, was she trying to fight y'all? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I get it though. But it's like a fine line too, because it's like, do you just not speak up for yourself? Do you not voice your opinion? Like, where do you stop? Because, if you're talking about just me responding to what you said, like, can I not respond? So, I don't know if that word actually fit, I don't know. Because we have seen her go you know, not back and forth, but we have seen her in conversation. But
you talk about Jessica?
Yeah. So I don't know.
I don't know either. I feel like I haven't seen that from her, but I can see it in her, like, sort of being that, like, okay, I ain't getting ready to go for the okie doke, like mm-hmm. This is this is not the subject we're on, but there's this video of Beyonce because she did this documentary, and she was talking about how, like, oh, they say this and this and this, but I'm just not going for it. And that was like the moment. It was just like, I'm just not going for it. And I feel like that's Jessica to me in that statement. It's just like, but I'm just not going to go for that. Like, I haven't gotten anything aggressive or combative about her. I don't feel like she's combated anything. That seems like a slap.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know why they picked that word or whatever, but I'm willing to bet it probably just was thrown around in the men's lounge.
And people don't understand how powerful that word is or what it insinuates.
We're gonna see in the next episode. He gonna get. Well, the men are gonna get checked or addressed by Janelle about it. But Blondie says he might have been on the eliminating day. He didn't appreciate the comments. Yeah, so he would have, if they were on the eliminating day, he would have been saying that she was going home, and she could have said something back. If it's Jessica.
Oh,
if it's Jessica, so that means that they
wait a minute.
First. They would have sent Sierra home first, and
of course they didn't show anybody, which I was grateful for.
Yeah, because I forgot to say, oh my God, it's another cliffhanger. I hate cliffhangers. Stop doing this to us. However, it means that when we go to the next episode, we should get 2 eliminations, one at the beginning and hopefully one at the end. But wait. Now I'm confused because, okay, so somebody's going to go home from what they just showed us. And then the
Morier's going to send either.
And then the women have the power next week. So I messed that all up because I'm thinking they have power. But okay, so if they're on the elimination date, let me correct myself.
If eliminating a man.
She would be eliminating him. And he didn't like what
you don't know shit about me.
All right. I'm slow tonight. It's okay.
No, I was just putting that together. I was just connecting those dots.
Y'all see that was crazy. Because I was confused. I was like, wait, the men had the power, but that was this week. Okay.
I was too. I was too. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Blondie says we might be seeing the real Chris now.
Hello. Yeah.
All I need to go home except for Phil. All need to go home except for Phil and Aries. Chris went off on an elimination date with Jessica. Okay, yeah, I'm following now. Following the little red bouncing ball now. Phil and Aries are so cute.
They are. Okay, let me get into that because that was so funny. Okay, but then we have to come back to.
You don't think? Wait, hold on. B. Jones, you don't think that Quinn wants Janelle? I think he wants Janelle, but I do think that he was a little sidetracked by Leah, especially after he saw her in her element. You know what I mean? Some about seeing somebody in the element doing what they do.
And she has some comments.
You don't think he wants Janelle?
She has some comments. Leah has some comments we're gonna talk about. Okay, look.
I think he wants Janelle.
Listen, okay, I think he does too. But okay, so let's go into this because we're talking about Phil and Aries. I was going to say, because we got to come back to Kat and her discussing Janelle in front of everyone, because on that live that happened a few weeks ago with the whole pull-up situation, it was said by someone that they never had beef before that, before some event they went to. And it's like, no, this looks like beef to me. I don't know, if it's beyond me or something like that.
You mean when they were at the, after game night?
So then
before that and after that, they got into it.
It looked like they got into it, and she was saying because Kat said, "Bad energy comes with consequences." She said, "This is a quotable quote. This is turning VH1 real quick." It was when Janelle was over there talking about whatever she thought, and she was hurling insults at people, and so. Kat felt like she was talking to people reckless, and you can't talk to people like that.
Yeah, she thought that she was rude. And did Janelle call herself Big Barbie?
I don't think Janelle called herself that. I thought somebody else called her that.
She was sitting on the couch with Quentin, and she said, "You want it with Big Barbie? Why you want it with Big Barbie?" And I was like, "Is she talking about herself or is she what?" Janelle.
No, I thought Janelle was Big Barbie because everybody talks about how her face be right with her.
That's what I'm saying. Janelle said that about herself. Did she?
So,
I said, did she call
herself with Big Barbie? She's calling herself Big Barbie.
That's what I'm asking. I said, did she call herself Big Barbie? Because she was like, "Why you wanted with Big Barbie?" While she was sitting on the couch with Quentin. But I will point out, and I said in a whole bunch of the other episodes where. Well, not a whole bunch of other episodes, but the other episodes where the women could like get into it with each other. I always say this, like it's if when you're in a moment, you're not thinking about who's watching and how you're looking, but 8 times out of 10, the dudes that are around do not like that shit. And neither Quentin nor Marie liked how Kat and Janelle handled it.
Yeah, they
so I don't know how they could have handled it better. I guess they could have stepped away, but I guess it wasn't worth the conversation. They could have just stopped with the back and forth, I guess. But I mean,
you know how that is. When somebody challenges you, you have to be the person to let them know. I could get like that.
Well, okay, let's talk about this because I think that just because you think, oh, this person is challenging me and I have to let them know, it doesn't mean that they're going to pick up what you're putting down. You could just be saying shit for no damn reason. And now they're just like, okay, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not wasting my energy if I don't even think that we're on the same plane of understanding because I have to get you told like that.
Right.
A waste of time. But then think about it in this sense. Okay, this is a getaway where they're all chilling. But what if you were at the governor's mansion, right? You all dressed up in your nice clothes and, whatever. It's a nice affair. And somebody says something and you feel like, oh, I got to get them told. Like, are you going to do it in that sense? You know what I'm saying? So my point is, it is worth, sometimes you can be caught in the moment. But
listen, let me just tell you not my experience, like personally, but what my thinking was about what you just said. I agree with you wholeheartedly, first of all. And just to add on to that, it's like, I think that was the opportunity that was taken. So like, look, I don't condone her, it seems like she's being rude to people and it's unsavory and probably worse would be had if it was me in the room too, because more than one person's talked about it, male, female, everybody's been talking about this attitude that's lurking and it's not getting captured on camera necessarily at the way that they're describing it. And so I'm wondering if there must be someone on production who is, aiding and abetting. Anyway, my point is this.
Possibly.
I understand what you're saying about the governor's ball. And I also feel like I would be pros and properly poised to be like, before we get to this motherfucking governor's ball, let me tell you what you ain't gonna do. Because I can see that in me, unfortunately, where it's just like, I'm gonna tell you and it's gonna be said and then we're gonna move on, right?
I'm just here to tell you.
I know what you're saying because you're like,
my point of view,
you're right.
You're the right tip, right? Like,
you're right.
A lot of times when people do that and they think that they're getting somebody told, it's just like
come on.
What okay, what are you talking about? It's not a guarantee that I'm gonna receive it. You just I just told you, and then it's just like, look how whatever. The other person's probably walking away thinking, idiot or whatever.
No new understandings. Yes, I agree.
Now I'm not saying you should never speak up for yourself. I'm not saying, but I'm saying in some situations, like situations where people feel like, oh, I'm about to drive over this person's house because they're not talking to me and I'm just gonna get them told, like something like that. Like you are supposed to say how you feel, but don't go out of your way to be like, this person needs to hear this and I'm gonna tell them about themselves, right? Like, because in the situation, like, is it really worth what you're doing? That's all. Right.
I understand what you're saying because sometimes it's like when you need someone to understand what you're saying, like you've gone too far. Because it's like you can't need someone. I need you to understand what I'm saying. No, you can't need that from someone. Because what if they don't understand? And then
that's what I'm saying. And in some cases, it's not saying that you don't tell them, but in a situation that you're in, y'all are at a getaway, the cameras are rolling, and y'all are doing this. Now, they didn't have to get into the back and forth. They could have just talked later. After cooler heads prevail or something like that, for the sake of not looking any type of way, you know, once
it
came out. Because my point is,
when
they get out, they talk about editing, but that's why I would be like, I'm not giving this because I don't know how it's going to be used. So that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Of where you at and act accordingly. It's not saying that you can't talk for yourself, but a lot of times in the moment when you think you want to get somebody told, the person isn't listening. That's what I mean. Like, in the moment when heads are heated, I ain't listening to that shit. Whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right. No, I get it.
Arguing, like, you're not telling me anything because I'm not
listening for understanding. What is this? A therapy?
So that's all I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Yes. No, I know exactly what you're absolutely spot on. Caramel
Beauty says, in the confessional, Quentin says he didn't like the exchange between Janelle and Kat, and Phil and Aries look good together. They do. They look good together.
Let's talk about Phil and Aries after this.
All right, Quentin wants someone athletic, in my opinion. Janelle was a safe pick for him. He knew what he was doing with that. Okay, so you know what? I think that is I didn't think that until I saw the
step class.
The step class, because I was like, for me, I don't know. Participation, it means a lot to me. And so, like, if we're doing a group thing, like, let's all do it together, especially if, you know, like, you have connections, like, do it with your connection. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of sitting on the sideline. It's just like, why don't you just join in? Y'all sat there doing nothing. You know what I mean? I wonder why they didn't join in or whatever.
I think it's because they didn't like her. I think it's because it's been established already that, like, we're over here, you're over there. I do think there's something going on.
So you just don't do the group date that the network put together?
Not necessarily, but I feel like Janelle has pulled away a few times on, like, the yoga session and certain little things that she's just like, oh, this isn't up to my standard. Oh, I don't want to get this, my tarot card read. I don't know, Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not bashing her, but it's like, you know, it's a lot of things that she's not willing to participate in. And so, I mean, that's been noticed. You know what I'm saying? We're just point blank, period. But what I will say is this, and I want to get into Aries and Phil after this, but when Lee was leading the class and Quentin was into it, okay? Quentin was like, it was like he was locked in, and Lee made a comment that, like, she felt like they were yoked in that way. I want to remember exactly what she said, but she was like, they're not compatible in the gym. She says this about Janelle, which is basically, you know, telling you, like, you're not compatible in the gym with her. That's basically saying, like, you're, you know, like, she's not.
That's the thing. No, because I do think that, like, to V Jones's point, I do think that when people are dating, if you are a person that's athletic, like, yeah, you could be with somebody that doesn't work out, but it'll be more fun if that person did work out. So, you know, it's not to say that nobody would pick anybody that's not athletic, but it would hinder it. Now, that's the reason why I say she should have just put on her tights and her sports bra and participated, because even if they were worried about how they would look, because I feel like I'm uncoordinated. I don't do a lot of Zumba classes and I don't do a lot of step classes because I don't feel like thinking about that level of coordination most of the time. So I'd rather do a regular workout. But even Marié was doing it. So y'all wasn't going to look more crazy than Marié doing it. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, I feel like just participation. I am judging on participation because I judged Justice about that too. When they were doing,
I remember that.
They were doing like the trapeze thing or something like that. It was something they were doing, and he was just too cool for school to do it. And it's like,
he had this whole club get up.
Like, come on, you know? So, like, I don't know. I feel like Sierra and Janelle should have participated because, just, you know, on top of what you said, like, Lee's leading the class. Even if you don't like her, she clearly knows what she's doing because she has something that everybody else doesn't, which is the body, right? So you ain't gotta like her, but let's just participate in the class and see what's going on. Yeah, I just didn't understand that part because it's exercise, something that's good for everybody. Are you hurt? Like, because that would be the only reason I can see you not doing it. It's not like they eating seafood and I don't eat seafood, you know? So I don't know. I just thought that was kind of odd, but, you know, to each his own. But I think that kind of hurts. Even Sierra with Marié, she could have been standing beside him and doing it with him. You know what I'm saying? Like, next to him. Well, I'm saying she was sitting on the bench or in the chairs next to Janelle, but like that's something that you could do to try to strengthen your connection. You know, like y'all are. She could have been trying to. Janelle could have been trying to keep Quentin's attention off of Lee. Like I just did not understand the thought in not doing it. But maybe she didn't bring the right clothes. I don't know. So I'm not gonna judge her.
No, I don't think it was that at all. Buttercup, get yourself together.
It would be an issue. Blondie Monique says it'll be an issue if she doesn't support him. Quentin might start wondering if she would do that. Yeah, that is true. That is true. Because I've not heard her speak her thoughts about the fact that he is so active. Because I'm going to tell you, if a dude is in the gym, like or meaning like he's about his workouts, it's nothing you can do about that. You either got to get down or lay down. You know what I'm saying?
No, like I don't do nothing about that.
Like so, I mean, so you're gonna have to probably like I don't know. It just makes more sense to do it with him. You know, I don't know.
Here's what I'll say though. I felt like Janelle disengaged because she was hating on the fact that Lee was leading the class, and a lot of times, people will get on their phones and act like whatever's on their phone is more important than the space that they're taking up, which is obviously not true. You've brought your whole body here to this setting to get on your phone. Like, come on, we're not buying it. Like, if you got to go somewhere else, buy.
You know I don't know what their reason was, and maybe they had a good reason. Like I said, she might not have had the clothes. She might not have. She might have been hurt. I don't know. But it's just kind of like, you know, if y'all in the process and y'all are doing this, like go ahead and do the stuff that they're doing on a group date. You know?
Come on, man, participate. So listen, okay, let's get to Aries and Phil. Okay, oh my gosh. I can't believe we've been on here for 47 minutes and literally Jim feels like 15 minutes.
She doesn't like physical activity. She didn't even fish with him. Doing step is a different activity. I have 2 left feet. So yeah. I like this comment because you're right. In that preview, she didn't even come out there and fish with him. That was kind of crazy too, because even if you just go sit your little chair out there and read a little book or listen to a podcast, go be with him. Like that seems wild to me that she just came out of the house and tried to get him away from. Maybe she just didn't want. Maybe you have a point. Maybe she didn't want to be around Lee. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But it looked like that to me.
And I'm speculating. And that's crazy. I'm not about to let you affect what I'm doing. Like you're not like, even if I don't like you, you're not going to disrupt my day. Like if I walk down this street every day, or come to this store, I'm still going to go to this store, and we're in a dating scenario. Nothing's going to happen. I'm just going to go. Like so, maybe you're right. She just probably can't take that they even have a connection. But then I'm sorry. After this, I'm gonna throw it back to you.
Oh, no, please.
Doing step is a different activity. I have 2 left feet. Now I will agree with you on that. I won't say that I have 2 left feet, but it's something about. I guess I'm all in my head because I'm thinking too hard about the next step, and then I end up messing up, and then I just be like, you know what, I'm not gonna do that. However, if somebody's watching what I'm doing with the camera, I'm not going to be sitting in the corner on my phone. I'm going to be trying to do it, and then we'll just laugh at my two left feet later, and it'll be an experience that we had, a memory that we all had, and we're going to remember. Like that's just my personality as an Aries.
Yes,
you know? But
yes,
but
it is.
I don't know.
I don't know what. I don't want to get into zodiacs and stuff because I really am not. I'm not anywhere near like familiar enough to say whatever. But I feel like. Whatever, what's her name? Janelle's sign is, she's definitely headstrong. And I feel like she just wasn't feeling the whole Lee situation, Lee leading the session. And she backed off as far as like, you know, I don't know if she expected Quentin to come and check on her or something, but he was completely enthralled and engaged in what Lee was doing.
Why would he come and check on her in the middle of a fucking workout class?
Or it could have just been her saying like, "Oh, I have to check my emails. I have to see check my emails."
No, listen. If we're doing a workout class, we're in a workout class and the workout class is starting, there is no walking over to the side to see what she's doing. It's going to be a look over like, hey, but she wasn't even dressed to go over there or whatever. So that's why I said she might have another good reason, like she didn't have clothes or whatever.
No, she was dressed for the workout.
She might not be an active person like they said. That she did point that out.
She said she likes Pilates though. She said she's a Pilates step.
Listen, like I said, I'm trying to give her the benefit of the doubt because I just, like I said, if it was a situation where they were eating something that she didn't eat or I could understand, but like the point of this is to try to spend time with your connections, right? And this is something that's fun. It's going to be like an experience together. Remember that time we worked out together? At least if I don't work out with you no more, right. I worked out that one time. Remember that? Or whatever.
Yeah,
you know,
remember that
time. I don't know that she was thinking like that, but I don't know. I just can't find a good excuse for you not to participate in exercise.
Well, like with because everyone, that's because there isn't one. There isn't one.
I just feel some type of way about it because, I get it, but even when I wasn't working out, if somebody was about to film me, not even just about the camera, if I'm trying to make a connection, I'm gonna do the stuff with the connection. Like,
also, if you came to bring your being to a scenario, then be there, and you can't pretend that something else is more important because you are there already. So like, be there. And so I think that that was definitely that was definitely not cool. Like you know.
And I feel like we talked about this too much. I beat a dead horse, but I just have to point that out. Like, what's the reason for that? What is the reason? I don't know.
I don't know either. I really don't. And then when you broke it down like that, it made me realize that, like, yeah, what is up there?
I mean, because it's like, okay, if I have a reason why I'm not going to do something, no, I'm not going with y'all to the beach because I don't feel like getting no sand in my shoes. I'll wait till y'all get back. But if it's like this, like, why not? But whatever. Caramel Beauty says, and she yelled like the street lights came on and he was in the house when he was fishing. And yeah, I was like, why is she doing that? Like, why is she doing that? Anyway.
So I think I must have missed that part because I saw.
Maybe I mixed up the part, but she came outside.
No. I missed that part, but I saw it on the previews, but I didn't see that part.
Oh, I think that's the part that she's talking about. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think so.
Because I mean, she was, she was laying claim to him. She was not playing. Like, she literally like ran Cat off. Like, that one time when he was at the grill.
Look, and he was here for it. So there's that. Look, let's get into Aries and Phil because this is like the best couple right now. So Phil walks up to Aries, imagine this, and says, "Would you like a foot rub?" What the other? Like, there's only one right answer to that question. Like, it's just like when we talked about earlier, a plate. Like, you're not gonna ask somebody, "Hey, do you want me to make you a plate?" Like, yeah, I want a plate. Well, no, actually, hold up. Let me take that back because I don't want everybody to make me a plate. Some people could ask me, "Hey, you want me to make you a plate?" And I'll be like, "No, thank you. I'm good. I gotta go." Like, I don't want you to make me a plate. But when it comes to a foot rub, it's a very listen, yes is the answer. So Phil walks up to Aries.
I would say no, but go ahead.
You would?
I don't like people touching my feet. Even the people that I go get a pedicure from, I just be like, oh my God, it tickles. I don't know. I got cute feet though, but I don't know. I don't like feet though. I don't like feet. So I'm good on that. Do something else.
Aries walks up to Phil walks up to Aries and she's like in bed. And you can tell, like, it's so funny because I could tell that she could have really just gone to sleep right then.
Yeah.
She was engaging with him. And she like poked her feet out of the covers, like, yeah, I'm gonna foot rub with her feet will go like that. I thought that was so funny. But they just seem to be so easy with each other. It's really
it was comfortable.
And so I feel like they're definitely, if this is not meant to receive a rose and get married right away or whatever, but it's like I like the way they're engaging, and some of the things are reminding me of this season, like how people engage together and what is important to people, to feel seen, and I feel like it's nice to see that with them.
Yeah, and I think they look so cute together. I like their vibe. Like, okay, we always talk about feeling the connections. Now, I don't feel this one like I felt Joy and Clifton, right? But I do, or Mike and Shay from the first season, but I do feel a genuineness between them or whatever. And then after I watched his interview, I was like, you know what? I could see that. And then seeing her on the live and stuff, like they have the same comfortableness with each other. They just give off a comfy vibe, so I hope that did grow. I don't know, we'll see. But before you go on, June Murray says Janelle is 41, not into exercising, and maybe she's uncomfortable about her shape, but she did offer to teach Quentin how to float in the pool. Yes, she did, because she said that he got thrown in the pool back in the day when he was younger and he decided he didn't want to learn how to swim. But I mean, I would say that is all the more reason why Janelle should have joined. Like, as we get older, if you're not exercising, especially if you're, not comfortable with your body, you should be exercising. And I mean, I feel like she would have like, cause you think when you're uncomfortable with your body that everybody's looking at you. They're really not. Especially if they're not, unless you're doing something that's like out of the norm for whatever scenario you're in. So had she been in the exercise group, I probably wouldn't have even said anything. But because she was sitting on the side, I automatically noticed, like, what are you doing over there? You know what I mean? So I don't know if she is like that. She should just get out of her head because she looks fine. But I just wish she would have participated.
I don't know if she's like that. I feel like she just didn't want to respect Lee. She seems like somebody who's kind of, disrespectful to people sometimes. Maybe she doesn't realize that she's being disrespectful. But I think she probably does work out because she does have a nice shape. She's just like, it's just a...
Yeah, but the thing is, it didn't hit like that, though. It didn't hit like, oh, yeah, I'm taking a dig at her. It's like it's
it looks like you're tired.
That's like, hey,
looks like you're taking a break.
We're doing push-ups, right? And you say, I'm only doing 1 push-up, but you guys can go ahead and do 10. You're not hurting me. You're not hurting me. You're hurting yourself because you're not getting this work out of here. So it didn't hit the same way she thought she was gonna hurt. If that's what she was doing, I don't know. But like I said, she could have a good reason, but whatever.
I don't think it was a good reason. I think she just didn't fuck with Lee. And she was just like, I'm not following you nowhere. Get up, whatever, step, peace. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's what the attitude she took. I don't think it was the workout that caught her, because she talked about how she likes to do Pilates when they do yoga.
Pilates is not easy. So
the reason she didn't want to do yoga was because there's some pose that is something other than or less than Christian to her. I'm just like, look, we got it. Come on, guys. We got to do better. Because I just feel like you can't just be...
Did not hear that. I bet you she's talking about downward dog, but
she's talking about something like she has all of these quips and stuff. And look, I'm not here to judge nobody, but it's like you can't be of such, godly good that you're of no worldly good. Like if God wants you to bring people to Him, then you got to be a person. You can't just be this other being, right? Like you have to experience life like the rest of us. So it kind of takes me back sometimes because I'm just like, okay, listen.
I mean,
doing a yoga pose isn't gonna, convert you. And this is plenty of, anyway, we're going to...
You lost me because a sin is a sin is a sin, and you have done a couple of other things that will fall in the same category. So don't cherry pick. Like, no, don't do that. Just don't say that.
For sure. But
so you can't do that. But anyway, I digress. We talked about that part enough. Okay. I don't really have an issue with her. I just wish she would have participated because that would have anyway, whatever.
Well, okay, look, let's be real. If she would have participated, it would have shown how she is able to get along with others and go along with the flow and complete a project in a way that's not, centered on you. But she didn't do that. And so we don't know that she is capable. Being real, everyone. So it's like if you continue to see these behaviors, it's easy to draw conclusions as such. And I feel like everybody coming out of this season has said things about, not everybody, but like lots of people have alluded to her being part of some negativity. And unfortunately, I'm seeing that being validated. However, it's weird because this is such a weird season, by the way. Like, there's so many things that are sort of like off and stories aren't being told. And then I'm finding really pertinent things out in interviews, post interviews that should have been on the show for us to get to know like how this came to be, type of thing. Like, oh, why was so-and-so pick so-and-so? Or, you know what I mean? Like, there's certain things that are being left out. It's a very odd season. But then to add on to that, it's like, these people are a part of this process, and people are coming off saying lots of things, and I don't think we should just like ignore them. But I'm still so confused. I'm so confused about why the people who are there. Like at first, I was like, Kat's gonna get eliminated, right? Like she has no connections. Nobody's claiming her. She's like the third wheel everywhere. It's like she's the person who photobombs you in your videos. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like she's not the main character in anybody's story. Mm. But yet she's not the bottom two. I don't understand how these eliminations.
Listen, I told you from episode 1 or 2, we don't know how this thing is going to turn out. We could think this one week, and then next week we think this because of whatever we were shown. So it's interesting to follow it along and him watch the interviews and stuff like that, because it does make me question everything that I see. And I'm like, oh, did they really say it like that? And I kind of, at first I hated that part. I was like, okay, well, let me just not watch the interviews. I'm not going to watch nothing on Instagram. I'm not going to go to any of that stuff. Watch the show. But a lot of times when that happens, the stuff that I'm questioning, I could have found the answer to. So I just be like, going back and forth with that. So
yeah,
I don't know. She said, June Murray said, amen, a weird group of mismatches. Yeah, we took so long to get to the point where we have, like right now we have Aries and Phil. And I feel like that's it, because we could possibly have Janelle and Quentin. We might have Lee and Quentin.
We could have
Lee and Chris.
We could have Chris and Kat now.
Yeah, well, we're not going to have, I don't know. Yeah.
Chris and Kat now are acting like there's some big match now that they had lunch down by the creek, which really turned out to be something about her saying, "Yeah, I like men who pay all the bills." But it was like, there's no world in which they would ever be together, because she's too tall for him. He wouldn't like that either. Chris, come on.
Usually the men have no problem with it. It'd be us, the women, that got a problem with the fact that I tell you, like, I can do it as long as I can't see the top of your head, because that's unacceptable for me. Hey, Agnes Andrew, she said, in Janelle's mind, Q is hers already. She did not need to impress him, and Lee was the focus, and she wasn't in that moment, so she withdrew. Weird behavior at her age. But see, that's what I'm saying. Like, why would she look at it like that? Why wouldn't she look at it like, let me go ahead and go out here in my yoga pants and my sports bra and get right beside Quentin? Yeah, he gonna be watching her do this, but he gonna be looking over here at me over here. I don't know. Like, so if it's like, if the attention isn't on her, then she has some type of problem with it. But she, which is, I think that she is not self-aware. I think that she is not self-aware. Mm. I think she just.
Well, I think that's clear by the way that people are agreeing behind her back that she is disrespectful. Like if people are saying that about you, you might want to take a good look at it. You can't just be like, "Oh, they're wrong. They're all wrong." Like,
I mean, even Quinn didn't like the way
you find yourself saying that, you might want to take a third look.
Because even Quinn didn't like the way that she acted with the cat situation. So she's just not self-aware. And I don't know, man. I don't know. Blondie Monique said this is the weirdest. Huh?
No, go ahead. Blondie Monique said this is
Monique said this is the weirdest season so far, in my opinion. Yes, I mean, I'm still here ready to love, but like this season is weird. Like we on episode 8,
a thug, a whole thug. Sorry.
By the getaway, it's usually like, oh, we're gonna come out with some like strong couples, or we're gonna have like a little bit of drama in the house because this person got to spend their time. Already, Quentin is like, I'm not doing that. I'm over here, right?
Yeah.
And Janelle is like, I'm not doing that. I'm over here. And so, Phil and Aries look like they're doing the same thing. But did either one of them have other connections still?
Phil and Aries?
Yeah.
So no, because Aries and Chris were supposed to be. I don't think Phil has another connection. Phil is hands down for Aries. Okay.
And then the girls already said in that Instagram live that they were kind of like, once they found out Phil and Aries had that connection, once they saw it, they were like, oh, I don't like him. You know what I mean?
So I think Phil and Aries are a possibility, but then I also feel like we got to see about Quentin and Janelle. I still think there's something there with Lee, but Chris is claiming Lee, and from I don't know. I'm so confused now, but like Aries is kind of like seeming like she's backing away from Quentin, and I think Quentin actually likes for somebody to be like having ownership over him in a way. I think that he needs somebody that's gonna like, or he's desiring somebody who's gonna like fight for him some type of way, and he likes that, and it's like, you know, his thing. And I think in that way, because you're right, June, you said that Herbert called her a whole thug, and he did, and so and then Quentin laughed at it when Herbert did that. So it's like there's obviously some mutual understanding of like, and then he went and repeated it right in front of her as if to like, you know, double down. So like, and she laughed, or she had a shocked face, but she didn't dispute it as we saw. I mean, like, I don't know, we don't know what's happening.
Well, she also like, so okay, Quentin also, like, to piggyback on what you said, he likes, I do think he likes somebody to show that ownership over him, and he likes not somebody to fight over him or tussle over him, but we've seen it in another moment, like even that time when he was on that date with Lee and Janelle and the friend, and he was like, you know, in the confessional part, he said, you know,
your man. Come get your man.
Like, I do think he likes that bit of like, you know, and Janelle picked it up and she's running with it because she's claiming him and he's loving that or whatever. But I do feel like, and I think somebody said in the comments earlier, that sometimes you think stuff is cute in the beginning and then later on that stuff is not so cute. So, you know, if she's
that is true,
already doing like that, like, I don't know how, you know,
I don't know how that's gonna work out either. But we get ready to see, because I feel like now things are progressing as far as like storyline shaping, but it's still not on the other. And I'm not trying to say everybody needs to be on the same minimum basic skills test level when it comes to dating, but it's like they're obviously a little behind schedule.
June Murray said, "What's that term about a man being whipped?" I don't know. I was going to say something that probably was X-rated, but I don't think that's what you were talking about.
But, you know, I appreciate, I applaud everybody, but I appreciate the men being vocal about their sort of like needs, desires, all that stuff this season. It's pretty cool. This wasn't the hurt you're feeling trip as it was done in the past.
Well, don't speak so soon, my friend, because it's not over. And the hurt feelings trip usually is the women, but I feel like somebody is gonna end up with hurt feelings after this trip. So
yeah, I actually feel like it would be warranted for Tommy to be like, eliminate 2 women, because there's 4 men, there's 6 women as we ended this episode, and Sierra is so cheeky and like, Saturday Night Live ready, that I feel like she would do something really, improv for her elimination. So it's almost like a preview to like, because, it could very well be Sierra, but whoever it is that gets eliminated has to know that like their time is limited. Like whoever doesn't get eliminated, whoever doesn't get eliminated, whether it be Jessica or Sierra, has to know that like, got one more go.
Because at this point, like, the connections are supposed to be closing in, right? Nobody else.
They're going to definitely. Morier is deleted. Okay, nobody's checking for Morier. He's about to be gone, so he's choosing the 2 of y'all. Y'all might as well just walk off together because this is over. But I don't know. Maybe this is the time in the show where they're like, these are the couples. Let's move on to the next tier, the next frontier. But I don't know.
Yeah, Miss Gingy agrees with you. She says, I think there will be 2 women eliminated because there are 2 more women than men. Yeah. I mean, and they're getting to the point where they're going to have to close it down or shut it down, and then they focus on those connections. And as we go on, because we're on episode 8, it's usually about 12 or 13 episodes, maybe at least 12 episodes usually. But so we got like 4 more episodes.
I guess I'm just here trying to, take it all in.
Well, I can't wait to see what happens next week, because I need to see what happens with Chris. I didn't know he had that in him like that.
Oh my goodness!
So I was like, what? So yeah,
I was shocked. I was shocked, but like I said, we have another side of Chris that we have not seen. For sure. We got to see the other side of him because he's not all sugar sticks and rainbows.
Clearly, he couldn't keep his cool with that.
He did say one thing though that was so amazing, and then I'll let it go for this. But he said something on their creek date about. He was like, in my culture, we don't have life insurance because my family paid for everything when my mom died, and we come together, and when something happens, like we all support each other, like, like it's a village, you know what I'm saying? Like it's a family is a village, and like, oh, this is family, so we're going to do this, right? And I thought that was dope because he said this, he was like, people in America basically live so individually. And I do recognize that it's like everybody has to have their own household income, such and such and such and such. But it's like if you expand, by a few people, a few dozen people, it's like, oh, this is my core 14 or 24. It's like
you can do more together,
so much further.
Power in numbers, right?
Yeah, this is my core 24. Look, I'm gonna make a t-shirt.
That's what a few other cultures do when they come to they get
it works.
A couple of houses and they all live out of those houses and they work and they build up or whatever. And I know that I met somebody before, they were like, they do it in $10,000 increments. Like, okay, they have everybody that's in the house. Maybe it's like 5 of y'all. You're going to get $10,000 to go do what you need to do to build yourself up, like get your store started if you want to or whatever it is. And then now it's Tina's turn and now it's, Becky's turn or whatever to get the $10,000. Like I've heard that from somebody before, but I also was I was looking for this house one time, right? And I don't know if you were with me or if you remember this, but you can let me know if you remember or not. But it was this townhouse. It was a nice townhouse, right?
I know what you're about to say.
And the lady was she was renting it because she was like, her family had a compound. Mm-hmm. And it was this big compound where all of them were going to live, but they each had their separate little, homes or parts in the big home, right?
Yep.
And I was like, yo, that's crazy because that is bomb. They're going to just be living in as one family unit. Everybody's together, but they still separate and pool all of their money and live like that. Like I was like, I wasn't hating. I was like, hey, okay. But yeah, I mean, that's probably the type of situation he comes from. Like they believe in like staying together like that or whatever. Yeah. And it could be luxury because that lady was talking about, I mean, just seeing her townhouse, I was like, oh, I know the other house is probably going to be bomb.
Okay, so let me just explain why I was saying nope while you were saying that. If I recall correctly, this is the same person that was like, yeah, you can stay in this nice home and we're going to charge you rent, but we're going to do inspections every whatever amount of days or something. And I'm just like, you don't really expect nothing from me after I'm paying you rent. You don't have access to
She was like, listen, this is a nice ass townhouse and I want to come and make sure you guys are keeping it nice. And that's
I get it.
Oh, okay.
But I get it. But yeah, I do agree that like other cultures have mastered that sort of like, hey, I'm going to bring you up. You ready? Okay, now you bring the next person up. You ready? And that is the way. There's no way you're going to make it. There's a saying, there's an old African proverb. It's like, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with many or something like that, right? It's just like, if you want to go far, if you want to have a wingspan, if you want to have a footprint, then include everyone and make it a community. I definitely agree with that. I think that, us African Americans have the worst sort of outlook on that or like execution on that because we've just learned to not trust so hard. It's wild. But like a lot of other cultures have come and done this, like Lebanese people, so many different people, like people from El Salvador. I'm just thinking about the people that I specifically know that their families came here. Serbian people from Ukraine, people from Hungary, people from Lebanon, people from like where I can just literally think about these people in my mind where like there are people from Greece, people from other places that came here and they're like, oh, we're gonna all live together in this place until we can afford more, and then we're gonna live larger and then larger and larger and larger until we all have property and we all own it and we all can can thrive. And we aren't able, we haven't, there's a lot of people, I'm not saying nobody's been able to do that, but a lot of people from here are able to come and execute that. And I see lots of,
could you imagine like if we I imagine a lot of people could probably do this depending on like who's in their family, but if you get like 50 of your family members together, right, and y'all had this big old like block, you know what I'm saying? I bet you have, a baker, a barber, a seamstress, a landscape person, an HVAC person, person that, we could probably
got an IT guy, you got a carpenter, you got you got everybody you need. Yeah. Everybody, because what's funny, even if you don't identify as that, there's like, oh, there's a need, I'll go and try it. It's like, oh, I didn't even know I could do that. Yeah,
everybody has the talent that they can contribute. Blondie says, first she said, June Murray says you can still see those compounds in Charleston and Monongahela. I didn't know that. I want to go there anyway. Yes. Blondie Monique says Chris went all the way in. Yes, he did.
He did.
We like our space in America.
We do, don't we, Blondie?
Agnes says yes. That's how the Asian and Indian community do on her island, St. Martin. They own most of the stores and shops too. They reach back to help their own. I mean, and that's how they probably create generational wealth as well. Yeah. Marcus said that's right, Blondie. But yeah, so I'm excited. I can't believe we've been talking for an hour and 16 minutes.
Oh my
gosh, have been here with us, watching us rant and rave or whatever. Get in the comments below. Let us know what you think about. As I always say, are you still here for Ready to Love, or are you already looking forward to next season? Because I've heard a lot of people say that too, because they're still going to be in Dallas. But I heard a little bit about the second round that the men supposedly are going to date, that they pick good men. I think they picked some good men this time too. So, but what are your last thoughts on this episode?
I'll say on this episode, and also just extending this. Look, now I'm in this life. I'm in this subculture of like, I know where to go to get the info. And so on the sort of like, they're not even exit interviews, but as I'm learning more from people about the interviews, my takeaways from this season are becoming more insightful of the way of the men and how they think, because it's something to consider. It's like, the same way Sierra had sort of a revelation after, we saw her just like sort of embody that. She started off like, oh, I'm not being pursued the way that I'd like to be. And then she learned more about this guy, and she says, oh, I need to show you this. I need to bring you into this life because you have no idea. In the same way that I've seen Phil and Chris say, reciprocation. I've even heard Marvin talk about it. It's making me understand how much I feel like, I have a whole theory on like dating in our culture in this era, and like how technology took a turn, and it really turned us around as a society, because now women don't need men to survive. Women aren't looking for financial support as the leading characteristic of a man, and now men have to then reach down and develop other characteristics that their fathers didn't prepare them to create. So now it's just like, this is really interesting to see this first, like real time, because it's like men are now, I feel like this season, the men are really being vocal about what their emotional needs are, whether they're calling them that or not. It's like they want to be met, not in the middle necessarily, but like somewhere in the middle, to be like, oh, I want to know that you want me, that my pursuit of you is going to be met with some sort of, embrace, as opposed to me like pursuing you mad hard and getting rejected. That's what I'm getting from the men. And so, and I'm learning, and so
that's that. Listen, and then I'll close with this. I agree, because this, like, it is entertainment, right? We don't know these people. We don't know what really happened because we weren't there. Yes, we do get that, right? But it is entertainment. But more so than entertainment, and you guys can agree or disagree with me in the comments below. Let me know. But this is my thought on it. I love to watch dating shows. And the reason why is because you know, this is like a microcosm of what is out in the world. These scenarios happen. They may not happen to you, but there's always something that you could take and be like, you know, like you said it earlier, you were looking at something and you were like, they were talking about like wife things or whatever. I think we were talking about another show, but you said you thought about it, was like, do I do any of those things? Like it's the point of self-reflection. So anything that you watch, you can take something from it to apply to yourself and be like, hold up, I never thought about it like that because that never happened to me. What would I do, or what would I say, or how would I handle that situation? Like, I like that because this makes me think, because a lot of times you don't know how you come off to people. And sometimes you can see, like, we can all relate to some of these characters. And sometimes you can see, okay, I thought when I did that I was portraying this, but look at how these guys picked it up. There's a chance that I gave off the same impression to somebody else. Like, that's how I look at it. Like, I don't look at it for dating advice, but I watch it for the entertainment. But occasionally it'll be like, oh, you know what? I've done that before and I didn't think about it like that. So while people sometimes be like, oh, I don't watch reality TV. Yeah, we know it's produced and all of that, but the point is, it gives us talking points that we can then relate to in our own conversations and stuff like that. So that's why I love the show. I really, you know, like, you know, this show, but not this season. I don't hate this season, but anybody that's been watching since episode 1, season 1, that is what I still have hope that I'll get a little smidgen of at some point or whatever. But you know, we'll see. But until then,
you never get as high as the first time, okay?
Listen, make sure y'all like, share, subscribe. Share this video with people who watch Ready to Love, and come back for more as well, because we'll be reviewing some other stuff. I already talked about the Love Experiment on MTV. Yes. Definitely catch that show. And I did see that Crystal XO actually interviewed the girls. I didn't see that before I started watching it, but that probably is a good little interview to watch too, because they were on the show and they can tell y'all how it went. I don't know if they can say everything since it's not over. It's only episode 3.
I gotta go look for that.
Definitely watch the show. Also, shout out to Mocha Mima.
Yes,
she's the reason why I actually started watching the Love Experiment. But Mocha Mima has a great channel too. She talks about trending topics and all of this, you know, crazy things that go on in the world as well. But yes, and shout out to y'all. Like the video, subscribe, and we're gonna see y'all in our next video, which is Thursday, but there may be something else coming in between there depending on how we feel. But we'll see y'all then. Peace, everybody.